managing this Zoom meeting. I ask that if you're not speaking, please keep yourself muted. Everyone is muted by default right now, so if you need to speak, you'll need to unmute yourself. I also ask that if you are not speaking to the board, to please turn off your video. That helps save bandwidth and keep the meeting running smoothly. Thank you.
Hi, I'm not speaking to the board, but I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm writing for the Mountain Times, Katie Lazarus, so thank you for having me, but I'll turn off my video.
Okay, thank you.
Katie, for everyone else, for the sake of our minutes, we're gonna need to have everyone who's here, who's present, who has any request to have party status identify themselves. Some of us have our names associated with our devices. Some of us do not. So I guess we'll go around the room and ask everyone to just tell us who we are for the sake of our minutes.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Development Review Board hearing based on appeal of a permit application number 2021-06. The section of the ordinance affected is Article 9, Section 8, appeals to the board. Permit 2021-06 submitted on April 8th regarding a 30 by 20 storage building to be located at 541 Briar Hill Road, Pawlet, Vermont, owned by Daniel Banyai. We are going to be a little informal about it, but I'm going to ask that it's done in an orderly manner. When you speak, we will be speaking to the board, not back and forth between each other during the process of the hearing. We'll give both the permit applier and appeal time to present their case, and we'll have a portion for public comment at the end of the meeting. So we'll have, if you want party status or you plan on speaking, we need to take an oath. Okay, everybody that wants to speak needs to take this, and you just repeat after me. We're going to do it jointly, everybody. Hereby swear the evidence I give in the cause under consideration will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalty of perjury. Okay. Now is what we have is, due to the fact we're meeting by Zoom, you can present some written information if you want to present it to the board. I believe everybody has the letter of appeal from Richard Hewlett. Everybody on the board, because I'm going to put Richard Hewlett to follow through with his appeal here and present his case, and then we'll give the other side an opportunity to speak as well. So we're looking for Rich Hewlett.
Can you hear me, Keith?
I got you now, Rich. Yep.
Okay. Well, where do you want me to start? Did you get the PowerPoint? Well, we've got a PowerPoint to present. I didn't know if we had time to do that or what protocol was here.
I think we'll take time for anything you feel pertinent to your cause there.
Okay. We're trying to figure out how to add it now.
Well,
so with the appeal, I mean, the first issue is the road frontage issue, and I mean, he clearly has zero road frontage. So I mean, that's the first issue here. And if we can get the PowerPoint pulled up, we can go through some of the other issues.
Can I share? Ask them if I can share a screen. They disabled it.
Mandy would like to share a screen. Is that something? It looks like it's disabled.
Yeah, man, give me one moment, Rich. I'm working to see if that's something I can make happen for you. Let's see. So Zoom is only going to allow the host of this meeting to share a screen. Is the PowerPoint something that you could email or send to me?
Yes. Yep. What's your email address?
All right, Mandy, it's John, Jon, at pawletfire.org.
Okay.
Something just went.
All right, and this may take a minute to make its way through the internet to me.
I'm gonna get out just for a second. We'll be right
I
back.
need to somehow get out so I can get to it. So how do I do that?
Oh, man.
Boy, if you're asking me, you're talking to the wrong person.
Hang on a second. I gotta get out to send it to you. So hold on. I'm gonna leave the meeting and come back, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. While we're while we're pausing here, is there other members of the Development Review Board present in here who are not identified by name? Just so
I think Gary is under Mike Beecher, John.
Okay, Gary's present. Oh yes, I see him. Hey, Gary. Gary, just so you know, you are muted. If you need to speak, you need to unmute yourself.
Yep, but you were very clear that you wanted us all muted.
Thank you very much, sir.
Keith, should we introduce who the members of the Development Review Board are?
We sure can. That's probably a good idea. We've had a large crowd. I'm Keith Mason.
I'm James Glick.
No, nice.
Gary Berline.
Sarah Ludlam as alternate.
Mandy, I've received your PowerPoint. Give me one moment to make this happen. Okay, I'm now going to attempt to share my screen so that everyone can see the PowerPoint. Give me one moment here.
Is Jonas joining us or no?
He's here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here, Gary.
Hi, Jonas.
Okay, is everyone able to see this PowerPoint?
So, yeah, I don't know if they can see it or not. We've got it up on this one.
Okay,
I
you
can see
you
it.
can see it there. Keith, can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Take that as confirmation that everyone can see it.
I can see it, John.
Very good. Rich and Mandy, as you go through this, just tell me when you would like me to change the slide.
Yeah, you can change the slide. The first one's just referring to the, in the permit there, he had the, what was it, 260 some feet of road frontage, which 261 feet, which he does, and he has none. And if you click through it, you'll see there's a map showing that he has 0 eligible road frontage. So there you go. So it shows this piece of property there on that map, shows Briar Hill Road, and then it shows the right of way that he has. He doesn't own, he just has a right of way across our property. So I don't know if that's where he was coming up with a number or not, but this map clearly shows that he has 0 road frontage. So that, I don't know where he came up with that one, but that's, we can move on to the next one. So this is a picture of his schoolhouse, or alleged schoolhouse that now he's applying for a permit right now. This house, schoolhouse or building has been ordered to be taken down from the court. And this is in the same exact location, according to what he has presented, to the new structure that he's looking to build. And it's exactly the same dimension, and even the trusses are exactly the same. So I mean, I think that bears a visit. So you can move on to the next photo. So this, oh, maybe back one. But this truss design submitted permit application March 20th, 2021. They're the same trusses used in the first of the pre-existing, oh, maybe you can go back one. First of the pre-existing buildings, of which in 2018 permit for the exact building was denied and court ordered to be dismantled. This shows that he's trying to get a permit for the existing building / schoolhouse. See the next photo for during construction in 2018. So this is a photo of the building that he built. It shows the trusses that he used. I mean, exactly the same. You can count the studs, you can count the trusses. It's exactly the same. So in my mind, that bears a visit. This is the building that's supposed to be taken down. You can move to the next. So this is just a little short video.
Which is on,
That's a picture of the schoolhouse.
steel, aluminum, and
Shows the schoolhouse in his
So
own words.
it's just showing the schoolhouse in his own words. So you can move on to the next.
which is on.
So this picture, it's hard to see the roof of the schoolhouse. You had it circled, didn't you?
The next one, but this is the dorm.
So this is drone footage that was taken. And this one, if you move to the next one, it'll show the roof. So I don't know if anybody can see the videos or not, but this video is going to show his garage / apartment that he had permitted in town. And here he's claiming it's a dorm. So I don't know if it's a garage / apartment or a dorm, but you can't hear his words for some reason in this video, but you can watch it through and
I got a guy in there right now, so just hold our hands. Okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely. This is the dorms. This is where people stay when they come.
So it's not.
So apparently it's not a garage / apartment. It's a dorm for the people that come and train it's Slate Ridge. And this is another garage or building that he has up there. It's obviously bigger than 10 by 10 or 100 square feet. You can move on to the next. These videos, you can't hear them for some reason.
So this is our refueling station for aircraft. We applied for 12,000 gallons. We only got a 9,000 gallon permit. So it is what it is. All right. This is Ralph, our mascot. Hey, Ralph. These are our ducks and chickens, and I left the goats in because that's what they wanted.
So this is the map that Mr. Banyai submitted, and it shows the proposed location for this new building that's exactly like the one he's already got, right in the same location. If you click to the next one, it'll show where the roof is in conjunction with that other range, and that's the spot where that building already is. So that bears a visit in my mind right away. Get up there and see what he's got before we issue a permit, because that building has been ordered to be dismantled by a court, and he is not complying and isn't going to comply. So I feel that we need to get up there and see what he's got before we start issuing permits for a building that's already there and has been ordered by a court to be taken down. You can move to the next. And this just shows another spot of where the existing schoolhouse is. So I can read this. Since 2016, Mr. Banyai has sought to establish a large-scale multi-use gun range project on his property at 541 Briar Hill Road, West Pawlet, Vermont, in violation of Pawlet zoning laws. He continues to leverage the town of Pawlet's permitting process to mask his pre-existing buildings and unlawful commercial use of his property. Can move to the next. And this is just a statement that he made. I'm never leaving this land. I didn't ask for this war to start, but I'm going to see it through. You know, he's going to do whatever he wants. He's not going to get permits. He's not going to comply. He's just going to try and buffalo the town like he's been doing for the last few years. So move to the next, please.
For a decade of planning and then actually implementing, building it, the three ranges that you've shown me. I mean, you're still growing now, building more. And, actually, so in addition to those three ranges that you have, you have the maritime range that's, developing. You have your dynamic range with the cars where you can, do movement with that. So you have those three ranges. Now, do you have plans to expand upon the facility even more?
Yes, my dream is to make a development.
We saw.
For a decade
Absolutely.
And that's the end of that presentation.
We have some questions too, to ask him about his building, so his structure that he's wanting to permit. So I'm not sure when the appropriate time to do that would be, but.
While you have the floor, right now would be good if you just present us the questions and we can ask them when Mr. Banyai has his opportunity.
Okay, well, on the permit application, he says that it is an accessory use or accessory use or building. And I guess we're wondering what original use or building this storage building is actually accessorizing, because from what we see, he has nothing's a residential dwelling. It's all part of Slate Ridge. So how can you have an accessory building to a building that doesn't exist. So I guess that's our question is, what is it accessorizing?
Okay,
Keith,
yes, go ahead, Jonas.
I want to back up a little bit here. So after I issued the permit, I asked for a site visit in 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. I didn't hear back. I had spoken to Rob Woolington when I got to before the 14th. I knew the 15-day waiting period was going to come up on the 15th. I had contacted Rob Woolington, the attorney in Manchester, and told him that I wanted to deny the permit from that waiting period. But I told him at the same time that we had an appeal. He suggested that we let the appeal go through, as opposed to withdrawing denying the permit within that 15-day waiting period. See, something else, I believe, I'd have to check some emails. I believe I want to be absolutely sure, and I don't have the emails in front of me, but in any event. But I did ask for the Monday, Wednesday, Friday site visit. Which I never got a response either. So.
Never got a response, okay. Okay, anybody on the DRB board got any questions for Rich Hewlett? Okay, if nothing further, we'll move on. Mr. Banyai, are you present?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can. Thank you. So we have your permit here, and we have just heard what the appellate has described, and it's your opportunity for a rebuttal here. So
Sure. I have a short statement I'd like to read, but first I'd like to understand the appeal I received was from Mr. Hewlett Sr. and Rich Hewlett Jr. seems to have championed this appeal. So I need to know for the record, who is the appellate? Mr. Hewlett, the father, or Mr. Hewlett, the son?
We both are.
He's here if you'd like him to, say yes, he is one of the appealers. Would you like that?
It might be good if he spoke up. Yes, Mandy. I see him in the background there.
We've been fighting this man for a long time. We want to see what we can get done now.
Does that answer your question?
It's Mr. Hewlett Sr., but Rich Hewlett Jr. has done all the speaking. So I'm just want to clarify.
Correct.
Okay. First and foremost, I'd like to state that it's my goal and intention to do everything within my power to come into legal compliance with all the requirements. I want to make it clear that I'll take any legal procedures that I can use to pursue my lifelong dream of owning my own home / land and safely operate my own personal shooting range. Secondly, the document looks suspiciously like a document that was written by an attorney. Therefore, I was under the impression that Mr. Hewlett Sr. authored that letter, but obviously it seems like Rich Hewlett Jr. did. Therefore, I'm requesting a copy of any records of the office of any individual that supported them in regards to this matter, and that includes but not limited to Merrill Bent. I have set up a sequence of rebuttals to each opposition. I'll begin by stating that 541 Briar Hill Road is my permanent residence. It's my legal residence. That's my home. The road use involving the site plan, the 261 feet was illustrated for the length of the driveway. So that's just a dead issue. The permit application I submitted for this permit clearly states I have a 30-foot right of way. My property right away was granted to me and others that have previously owned the property. Curiously, this appeal to my building permit is being contested by the exact same organization who has granted the right of way. The issue is decided by you folks, the planning board and DRB, and labeled my property pre-existing and non-conforming. The fact that this pre-existing exempts me from having to conform to this requirement of a 50-foot right of way. Not to mention that my home and legal residence was permitted with a 30-foot right of way. That's the title dorm/apartment. So therefore, I feel I'm constitutionally allowed to utilize my land and seek permits to build on my land. The second paragraph of appeal is essentially a complaint against the zoning administration. I mean, we heard some beautiful theatrics orchestrated by Mr. Hewlett. Took some good time there, and it's pretty theatrical. I'm sure the audience really appreciated that. But I submitted through what was relevant to meet the legal requirements. I included in my packet a sketch and everything that I thought that was in the checklist along with the application. The zoning administrator was satisfied and signed the permit. In the section of how much of the paragraph on opinion is what the planning board should do or not do. Now, I feel it's a conflict of interest that Richard Hewlett Jr. is on the planning board and now is championing this among his counterparts and constituents. So that's a serious issue that I want on the record, that it's a conflict of interest, that Rich Hewlett authored the totality of the appeal. The zoning administrator inspected and felt satisfied, therefore he signed the permit. In that section, much of the paragraph is on opinion of what the planning board should do or not do. There is legal action on a previous approved permit, and that should not freeze any development on my property because we should just follow the law. And if there's something wrong with the permit, please allow me to fix it and resubmit, just like anyone else. You folks very rarely to almost never, ever deny anyone on the DRB hearings. I'm only human. I make mistakes. The zoning laws and all public officials such as yourselves are not there to be adversarial, but you are. But you're there to be helpful. Asking me to fix errors is me asking you as the local government to be participatory and help me with those errors. Part of the court order directs me to have the property surveyed. That's very expensive. I've hired an attorney to explore my legal options in this matter and appeal the decision in the court. Again, I'm following the law. The third section of the appeal, this complaint is essentially going against the zoning administrator because it's little to do with me and what's going on. I, in good faith, submitted a permit. The zoning administrator reviewed that information, submitted the permit, and signed it. If the permit is inadequate, you should have contacted the zoning administrator, the zoning inspector who was doing his job and following law by signing the permit. My home, 541 Briar Hill Road, and my domicile, which none of you people have ever been on my land to look at, the building that I want to build is an accessory use to it. So for Rich Hewlett to be a mysterious expert and say it's exactly what this built and that was exactly built, he's never legally been on my land. And there for him to testify as that what's exactly is ludicrous, but you'll probably believe it. The fourth is the information in these sections. The fourth opposition in the appeal is all legal verbiage taught by attorney, most likely Merrill Bent. These questions should be asked and answered to Merrill Bent, but prior to the zoning administrator issuing me the permit. This is all legalese written by an attorney that should have gone back and revisited the questions and addressed them before my permit was issued. That section was also very insulting. He accuses me of a criminal act, but it's nothing out of the ordinary for Rich Hewlett and his dad. I will be exploring all legal options including accusations that are written or published in public documents about me. I mean, some of you folks have already even spoken to the press about denying me my permit. Very controversial. Needless to say, in closing, I would like to say that applying for the building permit is to develop my land, and it should not be an adversarial process. I invite all of you to please take the time to get to know the property, and you can come and visit the property so that you can see nothing is hiding. Everything is in place and built over the specs called for. I'm hoping to work with you and get this matter resolved without any more further litigation, because the only person that's winning here is Merrill Bent. Let's all work together and make the town a better place to live. I want to thank you in advance for your time. Some statutes I want to advise the DRB to take notice of is that the accessory statute structure is as follows. I quote, open quote, a structure which is one, detached from a clearly incidental and subordinate to the principal use or structure of a lot. 541 Briar Hill Road. I mapped out exactly where it's going to be. I set the setbacks. I put the road frontage. Correction. I put the right of way as 30 feet and the length of the driveway is 261 feet. So the theatrics by Mr. Hewlett's little show there, small little man there, that's just, an error. So let's just get away from that. Next is caption 2, located on the same lot as the principal structure, my already legally approved permit for apartment/garage, that's my home, is the principal structure and clearly and customarily related to the principal structure for this to include, I'm not going to read all the examples, but a shed for storage. Okay. It's a very small home I live in, and I have the right constitutionally under common law and state law to have an accessory building. Next, accessory use or building, open quote. A use or building, a use or building customarily incidental and subordinate to the principal use or building located on the same lot. So the purpose of this appeal is to, the opposition to demonstrate that I can't do anything with my land. It's my primary residence. It's my legal residence. The structure in the shed is to support the home. And there will not be any vehicles in it, and it meets the required setbacks. But once again, we have drone pictures and we have Mr. Hewlett, romanticizing the facts, which is going to cost the town more legal fees, more monies. I want to put on the record that I don't need a septic for accessory structure. No other human beings are going in there other to access things. There is no people going to be dwelling in there, sleeping in there. So I have the right to put my belongings in a accessory use. And finally, the burden of compliance is this. I already have a permit that was approved for a 30-foot right of way. The fact of constantly regurgitating that clause and that snafu to make this look so eccentric is that you've already given me a legally lawful in the Environmental Superior Court, and under your own DRB, I have a already active legal permit under a 30-foot right of way. I'm open to any questions, but legally I cannot speak to Ms. Hewlett. So I can address anyone else, but more specifically, as this application has been authored allegedly by Mr. Hewlett Sr., he should take the mic and answer the questions, not his son that sits on the select board and corruptly manipulates my rights.
So, Keith, I've got a question for him.
Okay, is it beyond the question you asked when we had the floor?
It's just a quick one. So,
okay, go ahead.
Dan, does this permit that you just applied for, is that for a pre-existing building or is that for a new structure in a different location?
My name is not Daniel, sir. It's Mr. Banyai, or sir. It's for a new building, new construction.
So not the existing structure.
So to answer their question, you're saying this is an accessory building to your garage/apartment where you live, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And it's an accessory to that. So to answer the second question, it is an accessory building and not one that is currently there.
That is correct.
Okay. My next question for you is, are you opposed to the DRB doing a site visit?
Select individuals that have not already corruptly violated my constitutional rights or civil liberties? Absolutely. You will need to add me as additionally insured on your insurance policy and pay for private security to protect me.
Okay, we'll take that under consideration. And I don't know that that's where we're headed, but it may answer the questions, you know?
Absolutely.
And as far as the DRB is concerned, we're looking for how this follows through with the unified bylaws. You know, I mean, the squabble between neighbors, anything else that goes on is of no consideration to any of us when we're looking at this particular case. So I hope you can settle down on some of your accusations a little bit, because you know, the DRB is going to do its job, and that is to interpret the zoning bylaws and see how they fit this current situation, and that's all that we're looking at. So
I respect that statement, but according to the bylaws, which I specifically quoted in my application, I am compliant.
I have a question.
I don't think anybody's insinuating you're not complying at this point. Okay. I think we're just, that was one of the questions I had, and you provided an answer, and we'll move on to the next consideration. Mandy, you had another question?
Yeah, well, well, first of all, I just want to say that he lost that variance for the right of way, so that's not accurate information, but I guess I want to know what he's going to store in his storage unit.
Mr. Banyai, do you mind answering that question?
No, you know, legally, I do not have to disclose that.
Okay.
Could I just say something really quickly? This is Meryl.
Hi, Meryl, go ahead.
Thanks. I'm the attorney for the town, and I just want to, you know, I think the primary issue that we have here is the question of, is this a pre-existing building or is this for a new building? You know, the appellant says they think it's for a pre-existing building, and Mr. Banyai says it's for a new building. Obviously, the easiest way to get to the bottom of that is a site visit looking at the site for where this building is going to be, and followed by a certificate of compliance when the building is complete. And I've run into this issue before where towns have requested to do a site visit and the landowner has said yes, but attempted to impose unreasonable conditions on the site visit to make it so that it won't happen. I really think that's the easiest way to do it. So I hope that Mr. Banyai would reconsider imposing unreasonable restrictions on, number one, which board members can go on the site visit, and number two, the idea that he would be named as an additional insured or private security would be hired it's a non-starter. So, you know, if you really want the site visit to happen, which I think is the easiest way for you to prove that this is for a new structure, you know, I think rethinking that position might be a good idea. And that doesn't require a response. It's something that, you know, Mr. Banyai maybe can think about.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are we're going to follow through with our hearing tonight, and then we'll have some kind of a deliberative session, and we may have some other questions that need answering at that point in time. And
I'd also, just for the record, I know Mr. Banyai had insinuated that I had some hand in preparing the appeal paperwork for the Hewletts. Of course, I had nothing to do with preparing the appeal paperwork for the Hewletts. I'm the town's attorney, not the Hewlett's attorney.
Hey, Keith.
Yes, Gary.
So I have a question. So from going back to what the court ordered the building to be taken down, is this an accessory to that building? And if so, if that building needs to be taken down, how can you have an accessory to a building that's not supposed to be there?
Mr. Banyai does have a valid permit for the garage apartment.
Oh, okay.
That one is valid, and it was not appealed, and it's totally in place and is not subject to the court's order for removal.
But can I ask a question about that? Because in his video, he clearly states that's a dorm. That's not an apartment garage. 6 people stay there when he comes, and this is where everybody stays. So is it really an apartment, or is it part of Slate Ridge, just like everything else is on that property? So I think maybe you guys need to go take a look at it and see for yourself.
I'd say that that's outside the scope of this appeal, Mandy.
Mhm. Yeah, but I know, I'm just saying, like, when you talk about like being an accessory building, is it really an accessory building to what he already has approved permit for, or what he doesn't have an approved permit for?
Yeah, that perhaps deserves some discussion, but I don't know. That is a permitted building and is apparently not part of the court order. So, we're gonna have some unanswered questions when this is all over still probably, but we're just gonna have to work our way through it and see what happens. With the attorney's guidance, of course, but anybody else on the board got any questions or comments for either Mr. Banyai or Mr. Hewlett? Jonas, have you got anything more you'd like to add?
No, I do have some questions on some other buildings that I did see up there.
Not pertinent to what we're discussing tonight?
No, I get it.
Okay. Now, is there anybody in the rest of the crowd out there that wants to speak?
I would, Keith.
Who is I?
Dick Hewlett.
Oh, Dick, yes, go ahead.
Daniel, have you read your deed on that right of way? I think it says the only right you have is to drive on it and repair it. And that's all the use you have of it. You have no right to put Comcast to put a line in it, or put a mailbox on it, or a road sign. So have you read the deed?
Keith, I'm wondering.
That's probably not pertinent to what we're discussing tonight either, Dick. No, not going to be part of this. That right of way is Mr. Banyai's right of access to his parcel of land, and we don't have any control or any say over anything that goes on there. It's his access. And
I think Rick was mentioning, he claimed he had 200 and some odd road frontage.
Yeah. I think we've established that was a mistake on his permit application. I think it was the length of his right of way that touches the road, and it's 30 feet wide. So, somebody was saying something while we were talking there. There was somebody else that interjected. Has somebody got something they want to say? Okay. Anything further from the Hewletts or Mr. Banyai?
Well, in closing, we just believe that this permit is not able to be approved just based on it being a successive permit, and for several technical reasons. I mean, the permit wasn't even filled out correctly, which ultimately demonstrates that the permit application does not conform to the zoning ordinances in the town of the Pawlet bylaws. So Mr. Banyai has failed to demonstrate compliance with town zoning bylaws yet again.
Duly noted. Go ahead.
Me?
Go ahead. Yep, go ahead. I hear you.
Okay, in closing, I just wanted to add that the preventative measures from the town, acquiring more litigation fees, the last permit cost the town $37,000 in taxpayer dollars. And now, depending on which way we go, we may go in another financial distress for the town. But I did follow the checklist. I submitted that to Joannis, I followed all of the steps. The 261 feet is the length of the driveway. The right of way is 30 feet. 541 is my permanent home, my address in which I reside legally. And that already permitted structure, no matter how you want to label it, cottage, this, that, whatever these other, fantastic acronyms are, that's my home. And the permit that I'm requesting now is accessory to that. And let's just face it, any permit I ask for, we're going to be right here. So I just want to thank you for your time.
All right. If there's nothing further, I would entertain a motion to go into a deliberative session, just the board and Merrill Bent.
Keith, I would make that motion that we enter a deliberative session.
I'll second it.
All right, we got a motion by John and seconded by Gary to go into deliberative session. I'm gonna call the names individually. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, Keith, I'd like to be in the.
Okay, we'll include Jonas as well. Yes, that was an oversight on my part. I'm sorry. So it'll be the board, the attorney, and the zoning administrator. So we have a motion and a second. Gary?
Yes, aye.
John?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And James?
Aye.
Okay. So carried. All right. So I don't know how you do that now, John. That's, the ball's in your court now.
Keith, is our plan to conclude meetings?
I don't know that we're going to be able to, John. So I don't think we may come back out of a deliberative session and make a motion to meet again at a time and date or ask for more information or what we're going to do. But we need to have some discussion anyway. So
certainly, what I'm seeking to understand is would it be best to place everyone else in a waiting room with the assumption that we will return, or to terminate the meeting for everyone?
I would think that the hearing is ended officially if we go into the deliberative session. So the hearing is over. We won't take any more evidence or presentation unless it's something we ask for that we come up with in deliberative session. So you can put them in the waiting room if they choose to stay around. That's up to them. But my idea is that we're probably going to put forth a written decision at some point and not make a decision tonight. So I don't know that we'll be back out with any new information is what I'm saying.
So this will conclude the public portion of the meeting. So for everyone following along at home, you may depart, or I will kick you out in a few minutes.
Can I ask a question, please?
Keith, do you want to recognize anybody else there?
Somebody has a question?
Darren Marcy of the Manchester Journal.
Okay, go ahead, Darren.
I just want to confirm that if you're going to close this meeting, that you're not going to come back into any kind of open session at the conclusion of your deliberative session.
No.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Well, with that said, members of the board, please stick around with everyone else. Thank you for your time.